Today, we're going to unwrap the incredible, surprising history of Christmas in one New England town, Warwick, Rhode Island. It's a journey that takes us from a holiday that was basically forbidden all the way to the festive spectacle we know today. Let's dive in.
So here's the big question. How did Christmas in Warwick completely flip from a day people were told not to celebrate into this huge, beloved community tradition? Well, the answer tells this amazing story about how a town changes and, more importantly, how what its people accept and celebrate changes right along with it.
All right, our story starts way back, in a time when celebrating Christmas wasn't just frowned upon, it was actively shut down. For the first Puritan settlers in New England, Christmas was viewed with some serious suspicion.
Wow. I mean, this quote from the famous minister Cotton Mather, it just says it all, doesn't it? He wasn't seeing a holy celebration of Christ's birth. To him, it was a 12-day-long party that was just a profound dishonor.
But here's the thing. This anti-Christmas vibe wasn't everywhere in the colonies. Not at all. If you went down to the southern colonies, the Anglicans there were all in, embracing the holiday as this joyful celebration. It just shows you how divided early America was on what was and was not an acceptable way to celebrate.
So what was their beef with Christmas, really? Well, first off, they argued there was absolutely nothing in the Bible that said to celebrate it. They also saw it as just a leftover pagan winter festival. And maybe the biggest issue for them, it felt way too much like a Catholic thing, what they called popery. Even something as simple as giving gifts was kind of looked at sideways.
Okay, let's jump ahead a bit into the 19th and early 20th centuries. Now, the biggest thing standing in the way of Christmas wasn't religion anymore, it was industry. In Warwick, the huge textile mills created this whole new reality for workers, one that left very little time or energy for holiday parties.
This diary entry from a Pontiac mill manager, it really paints a picture. When you're spending half of your Sunday, the Lord's Day, working in the factory, there's just no room for a holiday like Christmas. The demands of the mill just swallowed up everything else.
You know, for over 150 years, the Pontiac mill was Warwick's economy. It even gave us the iconic Fruit of the Loom brand. But this industrial giant was built on the backs of its workers, and their lives were pretty much defined by grueling hours and some incredibly tough conditions.
And let's be clear, life in the mills was a daily battle. Workers were constantly dealing with the threat of brown lung from all the cotton dust, getting their limbs mangled by machinery, or even worse. So you can imagine, in that kind of environment, a happy, festive Christmas was pretty much the last thing on anyone's mind.
But then, as we get into the 20th century, things start to change in a big way. A whole new Christmas tradition pops up, and the rules for how you celebrate change again. The focus moves from your home or your church to a new kind of cathedral, the downtown department store. For folks in Warwick, this meant taking a trip to nearby Providence, and it was pure magic.
You know, this memory from Gail Merrill just captures that feeling perfectly. For so many families, Thanksgiving night became the unofficial kickoff to the Christmas season. And making that trip to see the department store windows, well, that became a totally accepted, totally cherished tradition.
And what a sight it was. I mean, you have to picture it. The department stores were in a full-on competition to create the most spectacular, the most jaw-dropping window displays. They literally turned the city streets into this winter wonderland of light and color that pulled in huge crowds from all over. And listen, these weren't just stores. They were what you'd call retail palaces. Places like Shepherd's, Gladding's, and the Outlet Company were absolute institutions. They created this whole magical experience with fancy restaurants, talking Christmas trees, the whole shebang. It was a Christmas atmosphere that families would talk about for years.
But you know how it goes. Times change. Families started moving to the suburbs, and the heart of Christmas in Warwick, well, it moved right along with them. The shiny, new, enclosed Warwick Mall became the modern town square and the new center for holiday traditions.
Right from the moment it opened back in 1970, the Warwick Mall was always more than just a place to buy stuff. It really became part of the community's fabric. I mean, it even hosted the state's famous Independent Man statue. It added beloved things like the carousel and showed its resilience by coming back strong after a huge flood in 2010.
And this was all very intentional. The people running the mall, they got it. By adding fun things like the carousel, hosting important charity drives like Toys for Tots, and giving local performers a place to shine, they consciously turned the mall from just a place to shop into a real community hub.
So that brings us to today. What's Christmas in Warwick like now? Well, it's this awesome, vibrant blend of all the eras that came before. It's a mix of shopping, community spirit, and charity, that is a complete 180 from those early Puritan days. The sheer variety today is just incredible. You've got big city events like the Apponaug Winterfest, you've got those charitable traditions still going strong at the mall, you've got dazzling commercial light displays, and then you have local businesses doing their own cool things like sip-and-shop events. Christmas in Warwick is now, without a doubt, a true town-wide celebration.
So, when you step back and look at the whole journey, the transformation of what was considered an acceptable Christmas celebration in Warwick is just remarkable. It started out as forbidden by the Puritans, then it was basically overlooked because of the harsh life in the mills. It was reborn as this commercial spectacle in the downtown stores, and finally, it became this big communal celebration centered around the suburbs.
You know, this whole story really hammers home how our traditions are so deeply connected to the places we gather. And it kind of leaves us with a big question, right? In an age of online shopping and digital everything, as our community spaces keep changing, what will Christmas in Warwick look like 50 years from now? Makes you wonder. Thanks for watching.